Hey everybody, it's Eric and Jimmy today. If you're joining, I'm assuming you've been on some of my webinars already with Jimmy. So, there's not a ton of introduction I feel like I need to do. As always, please chime in on the chat where you're calling in from. Jimmy's at home today. He is not traveling. Where's home?
Home is Boston, downtown
Hey,
Boston. I'm in the north. The north.
I'm
If you're familiar with Boston, I'm in the North End.
awesome. Love it. I'm in Denver today for once also. And I got to speak at the Cowboy Club yesterday in Dallas. It was so cool.
Is that a bucket list item for you?
The Dallas Cowboys were practicing behind me as I was speaking, and I wanted to just stop and watch them because it was cool to see a professional team practice. I'd never have, even though I'm a Bronco fan. So, welcome everybody. And Jimmy, we're going to jump into it pretty quick today. I think what we're going to talk about is very relevant, super important right now as we head into the fall. So,
Yep.
thank you. I'll be around. I'll ask some questions. I'll monitor the questions. Everybody stay active and we're going to rock and roll. Thank you.
Okay, love it. All right. So first off, let me just set the stage for today's session. This is a lightning session. We cover these in about 30 minutes, giving you practical ideas to help you get more listings. What's important about today's call is to understand that these are all proven tactics. These are all things that we've tested in the wild, whether it's you sell houses in Shreveport, Louisiana, or you're selling, $5 million homes on the coast of California, probably $10 million or more in that fact. We test these ideas before we release them. I'm the co-founder of Listing Leads. We work with over 4,000 of the top teams across the country. We help them get more listings, bottom line. So before we get started though, because we have a ton of great ideas for you, a ton of great strategies, things that you're going to say, oh, wow, I'm going to start doing that. Before we do that, in the chat, let me know, are you currently sending out direct mail campaigns on a monthly basis? Yes or no in the chat right now. Are you currently sending out direct mail campaigns on a monthly basis? And you can see right now, a lot of no's are flowing in right now. A lot of no's. Some yeses. Yep, stop for budget reasons. I did it, but not monthly. Okay, great. So today, part of the reason why I love this partnership that we have with Breakthrough Broker is I'm going to share with you a couple direct mail campaigns that have generated a massive ROI. The big myth around direct mail is that it takes 12 months or 18 months to get an ROI. That couldn't be further from what you need instead is proven ideas that work. So just listed, just sold, those are fine if you're just trying to kind of your rhythm going. But at the end of the day, there's a much better way to get people to raise their hand using direct mail than what most agents are doing. I'm going to unlock those secrets for you today. So for those of you who are not currently doing any direct mail, or for those of you who are doing a little bit of direct mail and want to get a better ROI, at the end of this call, Eric's going to give you a QR code where you can sign up for Breakthrough Broker. And the reason I want you to do this is because all of the campaigns to cover today are already in Breakthrough Broker. So part of our partnership, all of the campaigns are going to be in Breakthrough Broker. So at the end of today's call, I want every single person takes advantage of this because the campaigns that are working are actually already in the system. Click send and you're done. All right. So on that note, let's get to the strategies. How's about that? Eric, I'm going to go ahead and return the request on to share my screen if you want to improve that, my friend. That'd
Yep,
be
done.
great.
Done.
Okay. All right. So let's get into the deck today. There's going to be a lot of material we're going to cover. Let me start with the basics. This is the theme. This is what you're going to have to remember. This is going to be the baseline foundational concepts that you got to understand. Number one, the agent who has the most conversations is going to win. If I looked at your business right now and I looked at your goals, and if you were short of your goals, hey, Jimmy, I wanted to do 5 million in production this year, but I'm only at 3.2. Hey, Jimmy, I want to do 10 million, but I'm only at 8.1. What do I need to do to get over the hump? The answer is always and forever will be have more conversations. It is the top of the champagne tower for your business. Now, the question becomes, how do you have more conversations? Well, more conversations starts with better marketing. Looking at what you're doing, emails and texts and social and direct mail, and how can we improve the marketing that we're doing to drive more opportunities. And what I find to be one of the biggest challenges I see, I'm actually working right now. I'm on, as we're on this call, my phone is blowing up because we do this thing at Listing Leads where I have a group of 20 different Berkshire Hathaway agents all across 38 in South Florida participating in a challenge. My buddy Jimmy Burgess and I lined this up. And this week we kicked it off. And I said, hey, I want you to send this text message to 100 people. And these are agents who've been struggling with their business. They're motivated, they're dialed in, but they're like, they haven't been getting results. They've been doing a bunch of stuff. It hasn't been working. I said, listen, we've got you. Send 100 text messages using this script to your prospects and your engaged contacts. I just got a message. I'm going to read this to you. This is from Olivia Seller, who said, total text 40. She only sent 40, not even 100. She's gotten already 18 conversations and 7 appointments. You know what I'm gonna do? This is not part of the deck. I'm gonna give you the script at the end of today's call. I'm gonna give you the script here. As I go through this, 56 texts, 5 conversations. This one has, this person said 10 texts and she got 2 appointments. So it must have been very warm leads. 42 conversations, 42 texts, and she turned that into 7 appointments. This is a example of many of you are probably texting your prospects right now, but you are using phrases like, I'm just following up, or, hey, Eric, I'm just checking in, or, hey, Jennifer, I'm just circling back. There's going to be a very simple lesson I'm going to teach you that's going to help you really unlock conversations. So better marketing creates more conversations. Number 1, the agent who has the most conversations win. Number 2, better marketing creates more conversations. Finally, number 3 is results are going to come from repetition, meaning the only way you get good at marketing is through being consistent with it. Sending one postcard or one mailer and then praying that it works is not a strategy. Sending 2 or 3 small batch targeted mailers every month is what's going to drive that 10x, 15x, 20x ROI. And I'll break this down for you in a little bit as well. So today's call is going to be, I think that I just came from, as Eric mentioned, we've been on the road for different events. I just came from Tom Ferry Success Summit. I had a chance to present in front of 6,000 agents over the course of 2 days. And I ended my second day session with what I think is the most important strategy to learn if you want to compound the growth in your business. And I'm going to share that with you today because I have so much experience working with agents, and I noticed this is the one thing that really good agents do differently than the everyday average agent. And so that is how they market their listings. Now, what you're looking at right now, and you want to take a screenshot of this, this is the 5 most marketable moments you have for your listing. Now, let me provide a little bit of background here. There is 2 different types of listing marketing. There's listing marketing that's designed to basically get your home more exposure, which ultimately can help you get more showings and sell the house for more money and better service your customer. I've always said that the price sets the floor, your marketing sets the ceiling. That's one type of marketing. So call that exposure marketing. Then the other type of marketing that I'm going to cover today is called compound marketing. It's how you take every listing and turn that into more listings. And these are the 5 most important marketable moments you have. Pre-listing appointment, post-listing appointment, 24 hours before, first open house, and just sold. If you just do this for every single listing you have, you will go from 3 to 6, 6 to 12, 12 to 24, and so on. Actually, in the chat right now, let me know how many listings have you taken on this year to date? We're now in September. How many listings have you taken on? Okay, great. So look at 1, 1, 8, 4, 8, 1, 1, 8, 12, 17. Here's the beauty. Even if you have 1 listing, I'm going to help you get 2 or 3 more. Then you can take those 2 or 3 more and turn that into 6 to 8 more. If you got 37, like Johanna has, you're never going to have to buy another lead ever again. You guys with me on this? This is going to be the thing that I cannot emphasize how important this is to bake this into your strategy. Okay, so let's go with this. Pre-appointment. If Eric calls me up, let's say Eric's part of my sphere. Hey, Jimmy, I got your email about, home values and what's happening with buyer activity. I'm thinking about maybe putting my house in the market. I'm really not sure. Okay, great. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to schedule an appointment with Eric, sit down, take a look at the property, review any upgrades he's made. I'm gonna obviously put together, an estimated home value for him. Probably gonna put together a listing presentation. All these things we all do for every single type of client we work with. But the other thing I'm gonna do is I'm going to send an email that looks like this. Subject line: I might get fined for sending you this. As realtors, we're not allowed to publicly promote a listing until 24 hours before it goes live. And that obviously can change based on your MLS. But this is not a listing, it's an appointment. I'm meeting with a seller today at 3 p.m. Eastern who's been thinking about selling. And what I can tell you is if they do decide to list, this home is going to go viral on Zillow. I'm going to circle back and update you later today. Wish me luck. P.T. Barnum has a great quote: nothing draws a crowd quite like a crowd. So if you have a listing appointment and it's a good home, and if the seller does price the home right, again, you don't know what they may have an aspirational price, but if you know if that home's priced right, that home's going to sell quickly. We need to start building up the excitement around. Now, the beauty of this is if you send an email like this, when you walk into the listing appointment and the client's like, hey, we're going to probably interview 2 or 3 other agents. You can say, hey, great, totally understand. I think the thing that separates a good agent from a great agent is good agents wait until the home is on the market to begin to promote it. Great agents start promoting it immediately. In fact, I sent an email out before coming to this appointment just to gauge to see if people are interested. I got 6 people who raised their hand saying they're interested in learning more about your property. Now, I didn't give a lot of information, but this is how we're going to find high intent, serious buyers for your home, Mr. and Mrs. Seller. And so it's a great way to actually win the listing. I've had my personal clients do this. Every time, 100% without fail, they win that listing because they can demonstrate their value versus trying to explain their value. Okay, you go to listing appointment. Good news, you execute the strategy. You get the listing. This is the second email you send out. Subject line: I was wrong. So here's the deal. This house looks even better in person. Forget what I said about going viral on Zillow. It might even break the internet. Of course, I'm joking here, but we're targeting to go home, have the home ready by September 15th, which means I can officially share the details with you on September 14th. Should I text you to ensure you don't miss the update? And what I'm doing with this email is I'm getting, again, people to raise their hand. I send this to 100 people. I'm going to get 20, 25 people to open up the email. I'm going to get 2 or 3 replies. You with me on this? This is how we start building momentum around this property. We are not going to list our homes. We are going to launch them. That's what great marketing is all about. The first time that you see when a movie is released, you don't hear about it the day before the movie is in theaters. They're doing small clips and teasers all the way up until it officially goes live. 90% of the money spent marketing a movie is spent before the movie is actually live. That's the mindset that we want to have going into our approach. Now, in the chat, let me know how many people do you currently have? How many people do you currently have in your database? Whether you're using CRM, Follow Boss or any CRM, how many people do you currently have in your database? 500, 1,300, 2,000, 338, 450. Yep, great, awesome. Plenty of people. Plenty of people. All right. And so when I look at this note here, Leslie asks, who we send this email to? Generally speaking, Leslie, I break my database up into 3 buckets. Number 1 is prospects. Think of this as your cold audience, people that you have not done business with. Number 2, and I write this down, number 2 is going to be your sphere. This is your warm audience. This is people you've actually done business with or you know them personally. And number 3 is everyone. It includes both. I would send the first email to everyone. I would send the second email to anyone who opened up the first email. Great question. And by the way, for those of you who have less than 500 people in your database, you can use something like this on social as a great way to build your list. So there's a quick pro tip. I could take this as a video script. Let me just come back for one hot second here. I can use it as a video script and basically like, this is me on Instagram. I'm holding my, hey, I might get fined for sending you this, but as a realtor, I'm not allowed to publicly promote any homes before they go on the market. But this is not a listing. This is an appointment. I'm meeting with a seller today. I'll circle back with an update. If you want to get more details about it right away, send me a DM. Like that's how you list build using this type of campaign. All right, so let's go on to strategy number 3, which is the email you send before the home goes live. Now, what we're going to do with this campaign, and again, you can send this to everyone. You can send this to the people who opened up the first 2 emails, your choice. I always gravitate towards sending to everyone. People are really good at identifying what they're interested in and what they're not interested in. I'm not a huge fan, as a professional marketer, I'm not a huge fan with worshiping this idea of constantly segmenting your database. I think it adds so much friction to the process and puts you in a position where you have too much effort to execute. I want to remove all the barriers. Okay, so this email here, let me set the stage for this. One of the smartest things that you can do as an agent, one of the smartest things you can do is take the people who already know you, love you, and trust you and turn them into your advocates, helping you introduce you to more people. Everyone knows someone who's looking to buy and sell. I mean, that's just the way real estate works. Everyone knows someone who's looking to buy and sell. We got to make sure we have the right trigger, the right catalyst to get them to refer us to their contacts. And that's why we send this email. Subject line, forward to a friend. Now, this is called in psychology priming. It's getting the customer in the right mindset to increase the likelihood of achieving the outcome you're trying to achieve. In the next 24 hours, a new listing is going to be blasted across the internet. This means right now, in this moment, you have something only a select few people have. This is about kind of giving them a sense like they actually have something. It's called the endowment effect in psychology. Early access to this extraordinary property. It's the house that all other houses talk about behind its back because they're jealous of how much attention it's going to get. I know this might be the wrong time to make a move, but I wanted to make sure you knew about it, Eric, because you likely have a friend or family member who's looking for this exact home. Please, here's my personal cell. They can call me directly. I can give them all details before I hit the market. P.S. If I don't pick up, be sure to leave a voicemail. If you want something done, give it to a busy person. And so by having that last line in there, I'm kind of indicating to the consumer, hey, like I'm probably gonna get a lot of calls about this home. And the reason why I'm doing these 3 emails before my house hits the market is I just generated 10 to 15 easily conversations and probably 3 to 5 additional referrals before the home hits the market. If the first time that consumers are hearing about the home is when it's on Zillow, you're doing it wrong. And this is the mentality I want you to have. Now, do you have to have a good house? Yeah, you do have to have a house that's going to sell. You have to have a house that's going to be, competitively priced. That's your job as an agent. You shouldn't take on houses that are overpriced. You shouldn't take on listings that are the customers and is aspirational in terms of like they think it's 2021 that they're going to get 50 offers and no contingencies. But that's your job, and I know you know how to do that. So now that we have the email going out, we want to get back to basics here. You hear me say it all the time, which is that this is a market where it's a skills-based market, and your skills and your strategy matter more than ever before. Gary Keller had this great line. He goes, we went from a speed-based market to a skill-based market. Couldn't agree more. Before, it was about just volume, speed, and efficiency. Now it's about skills. So one of the skills that we know is mission critical for your success in real estate is your ability to launch an open house. And I have so many people in my network that I work with that like built their businesses on open houses. Actually, in the chat right now, let me know. Have you built your business on open houses? Have you used open houses? Have you used open houses to get customers? You can see Douglas, 100%. Jennifer, yes, absolutely. Yep. I mean, open houses are a fantastic way to build your business, help you establish your local expertise, meet more neighbors in the area. All that matters. Look at this person. Javier saying, Javier saying, I got 16 transactions from open house. I mean, unbelievable. Well done. And so let me come. We'll dive into some questions a little bit later about some other things. This is like Ricky. Shout out to Ricky. 4 deals from open houses. Ricky and Javier. Javier, do me a favor in the chat. Let us know. Let everyone know what's your number one tip. Number one tip for maximizing the ROI from an open house. Let us know in the chat. We'll keep rolling here. I'm going to share with you a strategy that helped my buddy Trey get 2 listings. He sent 50 letters out. He got 2 listings from it. If you have an open house and you got 5 or 7 people that come through that open house, not a huge success, but certainly enough people to have conversations with. One of the things that you should do when you're doing these open houses is obviously once you gauge if they have an agent or not, is to simply ask them a question, which is, if this house is not a good fit for you, would you be open to the idea of me connecting you with maybe some off-market listings? Like if I came across a great deal that was an off-market listing, would you be interested? And the beauty of something like this, and this is really important, the beauty of something like this is that I'm now getting permission to kind of go to work for that particular buyer on their behalf, which is an important step. So every time someone comes to the house and feel like, hey, I love the house, but probably not good fit, totally understand. Would it be helpful if I can get you access to maybe some off-market homes that are similar to this home, but maybe be a better fit for you and your family? Yeah, absolutely. That'd be super helpful. Get their phone number, get their information. Great. Okay. That's the script. Now you get a high quality buyer that could potentially sell, but also you got some information. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to send the open house magic buyer letter. And this is the exact letter, folks. This is the exact letter Trey sent out. 50 doors, 2 listings. He actually ended up, I think, getting like 3 or 4 listings. He sent another 50 doors off this, not appointments, listings. It says, hey, Eric, I know we haven't met in person, but I thought you should know this. This past weekend, we held an open house. We saw 7 people come through. We're reviewing offers right now, but my client can only choose 1 to move forward with. I promised the families that came through the open house, I would follow up with the neighbors to see if they're in their forever home or considering moving out. There are 7 other families that are currently looking to purchase a home in the area. If this is your forever home, throw the letter away. In marketing, we call this destroy the objection in the mind of the consumer. Everyone's saying you live in an incredible community. I don't blame you for staying. Now, if this is something you've considered, I may have a buyer. All I need is a quick text letting me know what you've updated in the home, and I can whip up an updated value. If you're interested, I'm happy to share. Now, what's so smart about this is that this CTA, all I need is a quick text. What's so powerful about this is that what we're doing here is we are going to say, we're going to have a call to action. And the call to action, this is important. If you want your offers to convert, right? Your call to action needs to follow a very simple principle. Make the first step a small step. So instead of saying, scan this QR code, visit me on YouTube, go to my website, call, text, email me, here's my information. Instead of having these multiple calls to action, multiple offers, get rid of all that. Make the first step a small step. So what's easier than sending a quick text? That's why he got 50 people to respond, 50 doors and 2 listings, is because he made it really easy to have a conversation. And that's about getting momentum in a deal. So people were asking in the chat, how do you source the off-market deals? With Breakthrough Broker, you can, any home that's not on the market is an off-market opportunity. I'm not saying that they're going to sell. I'm saying if the home is not currently on the market, that's an off-market listing. You have the ability to reach out to people in the area and say, hey, I'm reaching out on behalf of these buyers. I know you may not be thinking about selling, but I've got people who are thinking about making a move who love your neighborhood. They literally just drove here for another open house. This is probably one of the easiest and simplest ways to get started with direct mail. I mean, I saw at the very beginning of today's call, we saw a bunch of people saying, "Oh, I haven't done any direct mail." Lots of no's, some yeses, right? For every person who's on today's call who hasn't done direct mail before, this is I call it the training wheels. This is the first direct mail campaign you could send to get some momentum and to get an ROI quickly. The template is in Breakthrough Broker. If you haven't signed up for your account, I think Eric dropped a link in there. We'll drop it again. But like, I mean, the you could spend $100, $200 on mailers. You don't need to spend $1,000 a month. You can just get started to get some momentum with this. All right, now let me give you the last one here as we begin to wrap, and then we'll dive into some questions, which is the last one. I was texting my friend Vanessa Riley, who's made over $200,000 in commission executing campaigns that I'm about to show you. And the campaign I'm going to break down for you is the Just Sold campaign that she sends. Now, the mistake I see everyone make when it comes to Just Solds is that we'll do something like Just Sold in 14 days, at 99.7% of the list price. If you're thinking about selling your house, give us a call. And have we all seen those postcards in the chat? Let me know. Like, have we all seen those postcards? The Just Sold postcards. It's an agent photo. It's a picture of the house. It's some big stat, and that's it. We all can agree, right? We've all seen those postcards. The problem is that when it comes to developing great direct response campaigns, the mistake I see people make is they make a simple mistake in positioning their value. Let me give you an example of this. If I'm a travel agent who's selling all-inclusive 7-day trip to Bermuda, which includes the hotel, the food, the alcohol, the cabana, right? It includes all the activities and festivities. Everything's all included. I mean, this is a trip of a lifetime for someone who loves going to, Caribbean island. Well, if I'm that person who's selling that trip, I'm not going to focus on the plane that gets me to the island. I'm not going to talk about how long the plane is and whether or not they serve a meal on the plane, or whether you have in-flight entertainment, or how spacious the seats are and how much leg room you have, and then you could actually fit your luggage above and carry on, so you don't have to put it in the bottom of the plane and check your baggage. I'm not going to talk about the plane. I'm going to talk about the sandy beaches. I'm going to talk about the beautiful climate and the weather and the low humidity. I'm going to talk about the extraordinary hotel and all the amenities. I'm going to talk about the idea of waking up and smelling the ocean. I'm going to sell the future, and I'm going to position the thing that I'm promoting with the actual value that I'm delivering. The value is not the plane ride. The value in this case is the destination. Well, the value of the agent isn't just the outcome, isn't the fact that you sold a house. Of course you sold a house. That's your job. The value is what you did to sell the house. And this is an example of that. $200,000 in commission, and she follows this format every single time. She sends a letter out. So in Breakthrough Broker, you can go in there, you can do a radius around your listing, get 100 homes, 200 homes that are similar to your home, that have been in the, that they've owned the house for 10 plus years, that have 50% equity. Let me give that to you again, a little slower. In Breakthrough Broker, you can actually build your mailing lists. You can say, show me homes around my listing that have owned the house for 10 years, which tells me that they're more likely to sell, have 50% equity, means that I know I can negotiate, work with them on price because they have some margin there, and are similar to my home. I can do a price range, or I can do a property type as an example. And then I'm going to send this letter. Hey, listen, we just sold a house near you. Here's the information you won't find online. We talked to the client, we did some renovations, here's all the marketing we did, and here are the results that we achieved. 97 people to the open house, 24 broker tours, not one, but 2 offers. And the cherry on top, we sold it above the asking price for $705. Wondering what your home might fetch in this market? Shoot me an email or give me a ring. Let's chat. She generated $200,000 in commission by just sending letters out after she sells a house. but she doesn't just talk about the outcome. She talks about what her value is, was what she did to achieve the sale of the home. So when you stack all of these together, whether you have one listing, 10 listings, 37 listings, when you stack all these together, if you start implementing a listing multiply system where you are compounding the opportunities, because take every opportunity and create another one, pre-appointment, post-appointment, coming soon, open house, just sold. You make this, you slow things down a little bit and you make this a priority, it is going to have a profound impact on your business. Now, my recommendation is when it comes to budgeting, my recommendation is the rule of thumb is going to be take 10% of your future GCI and reinvest that in the marketing of the home, while the home is either before it's on the market or while it's on the market. So if I'm gonna make $10,000 in commission, I'm going to reinvest $1,000 in marketing. If I'm making $25,000, I'm going to put $2,500 into the marketing. That way you can do so in a profitable and pragmatic way. So we got questions here. Let me end with this. Good markets create bad habits. Bad markets create great agents. I could not be more excited over the next 100 plus days here between now and the end of the year to help you guys get more listings. And this is one of the strategies. If you put this in place for your business, it's going to have a profound impact. Eric, I know we had a ton of questions coming in. We'll do our best to answer them, but also we had a lot of questions on how to get access to Breakthrough Broker. So if you could make sure that people have that QR code, that'd be super helpful.
Yep, absolutely. And we have links in the, Taylor put a link in to sign up. Anyone who signs up today, we have lifetime 10% off print. So if you're working the strategies, Jimmy, I wanted to interject, but you were on a roll. It's so purposeful. And you and I speak and we talk to agents all over. And one of the big problems I see right now is that lack of purpose. And that's why I think that's why all of your ideas are having so much traction, because it's so strategic, it's so purposeful, it's so pointed. Instead of trying 18 different things, we're going to focus that spend on this, and I love that idea of compound marketing to drive that business back in. So thank you for sharing with us, and we love the partnership. We really appreciate it. Talk a little bit more, because we touched on it really quickly, about budgeting and what you're seeing in your agents, and you know, the old adage, it takes money to make money, sometimes falls short on us.
Sure.
So talk a little bit about budgeting. What are your teams doing, again, one more time?
Yeah, it's the rule of thumb is you'll see this actually go up with top performing teams, but the rule of thumb is about 10% of your future commission reinvested in the marketing of your listing. This is not your marketing budget. We all, like, our marketing budget is going to vary based on our income. So, you know, at Listing Leads, we spend $40,000 to $50,000 a month on just paid advertising as one of our strategies. Well, we spend $50,000 a month on paid advertising because we have a budget. We didn't start there. We started like $5,000 a month, and then we went to 10, and then went to 25, and now we're at 50. So your budget really is your overall marketing budget is a reflection of your income. Now, as a rule of thumb, people generally like to do anywhere between 5 to 7% of their overall income is reinvested in marketing as a category. Now, in this particular case, I like to reinvest 10%, or really invest 10% of my future commission that I have for a listing, which I call my listing marketing budget, separate from my overall marketing budget, 10% specifically into the marketing of that listing.
In that compound marketing.
Exactly. And the reason why I want to do this is because what I'm doing, and the metric that you should really care about is your customer acquisition cost. What I'm really doing is I'm driving down my customer acquisition cost quite significantly. So if I put $1,000 into promoting a listing, and I can turn that $1,000 into 2 to 3 additional listings, well, the ROI on that is extraordinary, and that's what we see. And that's why it's counterintuitive because people tend to like pull back a little bit. They try to
Right.
like not spend money. No, look, I understand it's a tough market. I understand you guys are dealing with, just ups and downs, unpredictability. This market is bipolar. It's all over the map. But when you got a listing, I mean, you got to be on offense. And if you're not on offense, that's when you have those really massive ebbs and flows in your business. This is how you smooth things out when it comes to your production.
This is what I wanted to pull out of you. I love that. I love this. I want you to try these things that Jimmy talked about and the strategies, and you can find all these letters on Breakthrough, but mainly from a mindset. If we get a listing, that's gold right now. And in that gold, if you listen to Jimmy and you do the compound marketing, if we're just sitting back, putting it on the MLS and hoping someone sees it on Zillow, we're losing so much momentum and the ability to make more money and find more listings because we're not taking, I love what you said, we're not on the offense. So every listing is gold to get more listings. I love it. Thank you so much.
Yep.
Do you know what we're talking about next time?
Well, next time, yeah, we have next time we're going to focus actually in the chat before we talk about that. In the chat, let me know. Did you guys love today's session? Was this helpful for your business? Did you learn something new? Let us know. We want to get the feedback on this because we do these every single month. We want to make sure you guys are set up for success. We want to make sure that these are really action packed. We want to do all substance, right? Provide a ton of value. So yeah, loving the community. Thank you guys, and thank you to Breakthrough Broker, by the way, for putting these on. So shout out to Eric and the whole team at Breakthrough Broker for facilitating this. This is one of the things that we want to continue to do with you guys every single month. As it relates to next month, I mean, what we're going to talk about next month is we're going to have less than 100 days in the year. And in the latter half of the year, people tend to slow down. The consumer slows down. We got holidays coming up. We're going to be in our Halloween costumes before we know it, Eric. We're going to be sleeping on our couch in the middle of the day for Thanksgiving before we know it. So what we want to do is we're going to focus the next 3 sessions on how do you maximize, right, your marketing during a slower or holiday season. And that's going to be like, listen, I want you guys to take some breaks. I want you to have some time off with your family. How do we make sure you're successful and not slowing down so that you, A, can close the year really strong, and then B, start the year off with the bang. So we will see you next month.
Yes.
Thank you, Eric. As always, man, appreciate you being on today's call.
Same. I'll probably see you at some of the upcoming events. I'll see you soon, everybody.
See you guys.